You're on.
We're on. Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
So welcome to our live. We're going to make this hopefully a regular thing for you all. And the idea is that you just ask us your questions, and they could be about absolutely anything, can't they? Classic car ownership, cars you should buy, TV stuff, drumming stuff. He knows more than me on drumming stuff, to be fair.
I don't know. I mean, but what the burning question that I know that is out there is, who is this guy?
Yeah, well, I wish I knew. I wish my agent knew.
Yeah.
To be fair, I wish I had an agent.
Paul
Cowland.
Cowland.
Yeah.
Oh man, you haven't aged well, have you?
No.
Anyway,
It's been tough to paper around.
Yeah.
So it's obviously Fuzz and Paul Cowland. We're here at Manor Park Classics today. This is the first of our regular lives. We're going to try and do one of these every month, I think, is the plan.
Yes, that is the idea.
Yeah.
That is the idea. So we want to take your questions and twist them around.
Can we just caveat that though? They need to be relatively polite. Remember that there might be kids watching, so obviously no swears.
That's right, and we don't want any sort of bullying stuff or anything like that. You know,
We're not interested. Such and such is an idiot. We don't care. Basically, just go and sit in your mum's basement.
Yeah, we don't need to hear that again.
We don't care. Okay. Yeah, we're just here to talk about cars and positivity, sharing the love and having a good time with old cars.
That's the way. So if you're going to ask something nasty and horrible, or say something nasty and horrible, go away.
Yes.
Now.
Hashtag be kind.
Yeah.
May we have the first question, please, from the floor?
Certainly. This comes from Carl, and he's asked, is it realistic to own and maintain a classic car without a garage or a workshop to keep it warm and dry?
I think we've done it.
Good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. Well, is it practical?
Yes. I think it depends on the kind of car, though. I think if you're running, say, a modern classic, like a 70s, 80s, 90s, I think without doubt, particularly 80s and 90s.
I'd go 80s, 90s and above that. I mean, maybe a Mazda MX-5 or something like that. You could, but it's better, really, whatever classic you have, whatever vehicle you have, it's better to have a garage. It really is.
But if you invest in a breathable cover, a good high-quality breathable cover, they're quite okay outside, and always put them away clean, always cover them clean. Don't put a cover on a dirty car.
As well, because what you don't want, because otherwise if you put them away wet, you'll get all sorts of stuff going on with the paintwork and all that kind of thing. The best thing is to have an air gap all around.
Yeah. Very true. And also, in terms of maintenance, just any decent flat surface. You can do a lot of basic servicing on just any decent flat surface. Trolley jack, axle stands, that's your oil change done. Plugs, filters.
No slopes.
No.
Because, you do get caught out. Start jacking up a car and then suddenly, if you jacked it up at the rear, suddenly it runs off down the hill with the trolley jack or on the trolley jack and causes untold damage to people, property, whatever you like. So I think really though, I would always go for at least being able to garage your car overnight. But if you need to maintain it outside the garage, if you don't have room in the garage, a lot of garages are very small, then it's entirely possible.
Do check as well, because you often find. Are you all right, love? You're right. It's not COVID. Just point that out. It's just.
I've got a little bit of a tickle at the moment. So I mean, if I do have a little splutter here and there, please forgive me.
It's just age. That's what it is. But don't forget your local council or your local borough council. If you speak to them, if you go on their website, a lot of them have garages. So there's a lot of council garages in most villages and towns that allow you to rent them for not crazy amounts of money, sometimes like kind of 70, 80 quid a month.
Yeah,
and
exactly. And also farmers next door.
Farmers is good.
Yeah, I keep my bus in a farmer's barn next door.
That's a really good shout, actually, yeah.
I don't know anything about it, but I do keep it.
If you politely go door knocking on your local farmers, because, if they've got an empty barn and you can give them a few quid, they're well up for that.
They love a bit of money.
They do. Obviously, all on the books, of course.
Yeah, so the main thing, though, is always, if you need to maintain your car, always work safely. And not just for yourself, but for other people around you. So don't leave jagged bits of metal around or trip hazards, tire wheels lying over on their side. So somebody comes around the corner and falls straight over. Yeah,
good advice. And Sam, please, can we have the next question?
You can. This is interesting. This has come from a business called A&T Fabrication. They've asked if you could explain to people who want their car restoring that until you start to restore a car, it's almost impossible to see the work that is going to need to be done, previous bodges, further rust issues, etc.
I think that's fair, isn't it? When people say, because, you fix a lot of nice cars, people come in and say, how much is it going to cost? And the honest answer is, until you get into it, you can't really ever know. You can give a rough estimate, but until you've taken wings off, you're into the body of the thing, nobody knows.
Exactly. Well, what I would say is that a basic restoration with paint, metal work, sort of fair amount of metal work, mechanical, etc. Stuff done. So the full job will start at around about 800 hours. And then it'll motor on to whatever it is. You know, between 800 and 1600 will normally take into account most restorations, but some will be a few hours less. Some will be quite a lot hours, quite a lot more hours.
It just totally depends what you start with. I mean, I'm a big fan. I tend to import a lot of cars from rust-free places. So I love Californian cars. I love Scandinavian cars because your body shell is good. Because a huge amount of the money goes into getting the body right, doesn't it? If you can get a car that's 80, 90% there, you're going to save a fortune in time and money because then you're only stripping the car down, making the body good, and that can save you huge amounts.
That can. But the best thing to do of all, really, is to just buy a decent car in the first place.
Couldn't agree more.
What I will say, going back to the original question, a lot of work, a lot of previously done work is hidden, and also a lot of that previously done work has to be undone. It has to be unpicked.
Yeah.
So you have to go back to a good substrate. So you have to cut away back to where the original car is.
Yeah,
most
because
of the
wouldn't
time.
you agree, Fuzz, in some ways you're actually better to get a car that's knackered but it's all on show rather than trying to undo a restoration of 10 years ago.
An honest, rotten, corroded car is a better start point than a badly repaired one.
So if you see a project, particularly here, because I've seen projects listed here as some of the lots, and you know all the rust's on show, all the holes are on show. In some ways, that's what you want because you know where you're starting, you know what the money you're going to have to spend, and then you can budget for that. Whereas you know a car that looks shiny because it was repainted 5 years ago over an inch of filler, that ain't helping you, is it?
No, not at all. So look for good, honest, corroded cars if you want a project, but better still, get one that somebody spent all the money on.
And we will say this a lot probably during this Q&A, is that the honest truth is, as someone that does a TV car makeover show, the best way to get a car restored is to buy one that's already restored, that someone has done properly with documented, photographed restoration process, ideally with a reputable restorer, because someone that spent 30, 35 grand restoring a car, you might buy that at auction for 20, 25, mightn't you? That's the honest truth.
Yes. Yeah, that's the, you know, then you're going to be quids in.
Yeah,
and
that's the clever way to do it.
And you're driving it straight away and enjoying it and then just maintaining it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of joy to be had in just maintaining a car. You know, older cars do take a lot more maintenance in general, you know, lots more greasing and fettling, you know, general stuff.
And it's different, isn't it? If it's a car that means something to you, if it's like a family heirloom, it's been with you, or there's a sentimental value, then kind of money goes out the window. It almost doesn't matter to a point if you can afford it.
Of course.
Because that's different. That's an emotional attachment. But if you're just looking at the bare bones of money and you could buy that car or that car, always go for the best condition. Even if you hate the colour, condition, history, price, mileage, always just the basics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, you know, maybe a few more quid than you wanted to pay for your project car, but you can always get it on finance and you can enjoy it straight away.
Wise words.
Okay, this one's from Ultra Tradition Racing on Twitter. Will electric vehicles be as fondly regarded as petrol-driven cars? Car shows show how emotionally invested many are in their cars. Will this be the case with electric?
Oh, because you like electric cars.
Yeah, well,
go on.
my answer is a straight yes.
You think?
Yeah, I do. Well, look, I mean, you've got things like early Teslas, you know, the Lotus-based ones.
That is quite cool, I'll give you that.
Yeah, and they are picking up a big following. People are buying them. They're going up in value.
Yeah.
So my answer is absolutely yes, of course they will.
I think slightly differently. I think that a lot of the run-of-the-mill electric cars, I just don't think they have the soul and the character. I think what makes us buy classic cars isn't just the fact that they're old and our dad drove one. I think it's the fact that what they do and how they make us feel is different from when we drive a modern car. And I think electric cars, when they're 25 years old, will drive very similarly to new electric cars. And for that reason, I don't think they'll hit us on the same emotional level.
I agree.
That's my lukewarm take.
Okay, yeah, it is massively lukewarm, I'm afraid, there, because I don't think that cars of 20 years ago drive that much differently to cars of today. Okay, cars of today,
they're so much lighter.
More automatics, more whatever, but they're not that different.
They do, because you think a car, like average weight's gone up by almost half a ton. Cars now have so many safety systems that they didn't have 25 years ago.
Yeah, okay, so you're more likely to die in an old car.
Yeah, but they feel lighter. I mean, there's a Renault Clio over there. I mean, that's a car that's, 25 years old. Yeah. That does not drive like a Super Mini today. That's just light on its feet. It's just chuckable little go-kart.
Okay, but I think what you're doing is you're making that error that people have made all the way through the world of cars, and that is that their era of classics is the key era.
Yes,
and
that's correct.
Actually, I think that people who are growing up now. You know, I have children under the age of 10, and I think that they will grow up with electric cars, and they will absolutely love them.
They will.
Oh, look at that! And they will know the sound of a Tesla motor to some other motor. You know, sort of.
But has any child ever gone, oh, just listen to that motor? Oh, no one's ever done that. But I take Amber, who's my 14-year-old daughter, I take her out in my Mustang, and it's got like a pop bang overrun on it.
Yeah.
And she just sits there going, oh, that noise. There's a kid just going.
Yeah, I do understand that, but no, I think the appeal will come in different ways, and it will also be stylistically, aesthetically appealing as well. So there'll be different things, and also just think of the squeaks and rattles they're going to develop as well.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting. The honest answer is I don't know, but I'm quite interested to see. It's a very exciting time to be a car enthusiast, isn't it? Because there's all of what we know, and there's all of this kind of brave, new, exciting stuff: hydrogen, electric, hybrid.
It's brilliant. There are more power sources available out there.
It can only be a good thing. Only be a good thing.
So yes, I think electric cars, yes, they will gain the following. I'm sure they will, just as much as sort of everyday cars. Things like Allegros took a long time to come in from out of the cold, didn't they?
That's true.
But they are there now.
They're very cool now.
I think some electric cars will equally.
Would you do an electric Allegro?
Why not?
An Allegro.
Yeah. Allegro.
Yeah, okay.
I like it.
It writes itself.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's very good.
Very West Midlands. You can have that one.
Yeah.
Okay, next question from Rich T on Twitter. My question relates to whether the term classic really matters to anyone. As modern stuff has become more homogenised, pretty much all older stuff is catching fire and interest, and I do wonder if classic status really matters like it once did. The actual cars need to be old, I suppose, but the story behind them and the fact they mean something to someone is more important than whether or not they are classic. Do you agree?
That's a great question. And you used the word homogenised. So that shows the kind of intelligent viewers that we have for the channel.
It does, yeah. Absolutely. But I think there are two things getting mixed up there, and that's so a classic, I believe, to be any car that will be used for fun and for pleasure. So a classic could be a straight out of the box Aston Martin, for instance.
I agree.
And it could be said to be a classic. So I don't see that there's any problem with that. I mean, there used to be a magazine many years ago called Classic and Thoroughbred, and that wasn't
that for horses?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. So thoroughbred cars were sort of like your Bristols, Bentleys, and Jaguars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they were sort of like differentiating.
We have one in Nottingham. It's called Classic and Inbred. We have,
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That's the one we use.
Yeah. The comedy career's on hold, is it? Yeah. Great. Anyway, so the but that. So you have that kind of thing, and in a way, that was a little bit snooty, and of course, people still regard certain marks as thoroughbred.
But that is the problem, isn't it, with classics? Because there is sort of like a clique and a tier to some of the areas of classic car. There's some of the concourse events that seem quite inaccessible, I think, to some enthusiasts.
Yeah.
And what I love about the term classic is, I agree with you. If it's just anything that's a bit unusual, I mean, we're just looking at an Alpina over here, which is a relatively young car.
Yeah, 55 plate.
Yeah,
so
but that's a special
not
car.
An old car,
it's not an old car, but to me, that's classic, that's special, that's collectible,
definitely.
It's covetable. And I think if it's collectable and covetable, by definition, it's classic, even if it's 5 years old.
Yeah, people want it? You're quite right. I think, if other people do covet the car, then...
And that can be brand new, like you say.
Yeah, as soon as you've got that talking point, then there you are.
I agree. And also, just if you think it's a cool car, if you think it's a classic car, I mean, we've spoken about this, the Festival of the Unexceptional, an event that runs every year, which is just for the most ordinary cars in the world.
Exactly.
So Cavaliers, Protons, Ladas, Nissan Primeras.
But they are absolutely extraordinary now because they've survived.
But also, they're a big part of all of our lives, aren't they? So things like a Nissan Primera, probably not that many people lusted after one, apart from maybe the GT, which was very cool and very good handling. But everyone's been in the back of a minicab one. Everyone's dad had one. Everyone's granddad had one.
That's right. And the Survivors are now so rare that they are very cool cars.
And they're accessible, because I love that stuff. Because when we started as kids buying cars were hundreds of pounds, and you could have a lot of fun buying a cheap, inexpensive car. And the problem with the classic market now, the classic market really entry point is $3 or $4 grand to get into something okay.
Yes.
But when you go for the unexceptional cars, the less obvious classics, they can be hundreds of pounds.
Yeah, and they are just as gratifying, to own,
if not more.
Yeah, exactly. You can, there are events you can take them to, and arguably you can enjoy them more because you're not so worried about the value.
Exactly. A £500 car isn't a tenth of the fun of a £5,000 car.
No,
is
that's
it?
right. Yeah, exactly.
It's probably exactly the same amount of fun for a tenth of the money, and that's where you want to go, I think.
Yeah, different strokes for different folks.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I also think, sort of like putting a lid on it. I think everybody, again, I've said it before. Everybody thinks that their era of classic is the last and most defining era of classic. Whereas I don't believe that to be the case. I think cars throughout the ages have been brilliant. There are fantastic early cars, and there are fantastic modern cars.
And there are terrible modern cars and terrible early cars.
Oh yeah, yes.
There's good and bad in every era. Yeah. That's very progressive thinking there, I think.
Well, I like to think, keep up with the
downwit kids.
Downwit kids.
Downwit kids. Yeah. What's next, Sam?
Okay, we've got a question from Darren on Twitter.
Hey, Darren.
My classic cars were both acquired in perfect condition. 60s Aston Martin and Mustang.
Nice.
I've been wanting to invest in a restoration project, but do I start by contacting a good restorer or by finding the car?
Ooh, I don't know. May I start with that one?
Yeah, of course.
I think with all classics, the most important thing when you buy any classic car, because people always say to me, which classic car should I buy to make the most money, or where's the best investment?
Yeah.
And my answer is always the same: buy the car that you always wanted at a price you can afford. They're the two most important things. And then everything else kind of falls into place afterwards. And also, if you enjoy it and you've had fun with it, and whether you make money on it or not, it won't matter because you've got the car that you've always wanted. So I would say start with the car you absolutely love. That's the most important thing. And then once you've got that, live with it for a bit, and then you'll know what you need to do to it. I think if you book a restoration on a car you haven't yet really fallen in love with or got an affinity for, it's very hard to know what it needs. So I would say get the car first, make it the car you've always wanted, and then create a restoration plan.
But however, if you're talking about somebody who already has two lovely cars and wants to take on a project and maybe wants to do that to turn a profit, then I think what you've got to look at is the triangle of inputs there. So you've got finance, so the amount of money you have to spend on the car, skills, the amount of skills you personally have, and the amount of time that you have as well. So you might have all the skills, no time, but lots of money, and in that case, then really,
away you go.
What you do, you go into the pros, even though you can do it yourself. But you may have loads of time, no skills, and lots of money. Then perhaps learn the skills before taking the car.
What would you do if you were me with no skills, no time, and no money?
Lots of skills.
What would you do?
You've got lots of skills. You can. I've seen you juggle. You're all right. You're okay. Okay. So if you've got no skills, no time, and no money, just buy a car. The car that you can afford. Go back to exactly what you said.
Yeah, £500 Peugeot 106.
And like it.
Yeah.
Just like it. But if you need to sort of balance everything out, and it's very difficult, I think, to make a classic restoration pay unless you're working on either a very high-end car or a car with very deep and strong provenance. I think
that's a really good point, because do remember that if you're restoring a car as well, the cost of restoring a Rolls Royce that might have a final value of £80,000 or £90,000 in terms of bodywork and paint is not dissimilar to restoring a car of the same size that might be worth £15,000. The actual cost of workshop labour, time, expertise, almost identical in both cases, but the end product is worth so much more. So if you're looking to keep the money in whatever you're restoring, do a big ticket item.
Yeah. That's right, and also don't forget the cost. Your family cost. Your sort of like home life cost. Yeah. Because I think people do need to take that into account.
They do.
I know that a lot of people want to escape into their garages and stuff like that, but actually, have something that balances out family life or home life with your personal interest, because cost comes in more than cash.
It does. And the final word is, when you're looking at which restorer to go to, this is the hard part, isn't it? There are restorers that have very good reputations. They normally have a long waiting list. And I would argue, if the restorer that you go and see can get you in next week, unless they're just brand new, in which case you don't know what they can do, I would be a little bit worried about that. Good restorers, you are going to have to wait, and it's typically a few months to get in. Some restorers can be a year to get into. Ask around, ask to see other work they've done. good restorers will not at all mind you speaking to previous clients, showing you other cars they've done, because they know their work stands up. And if you can see an older restoration, see something that was done 5-6 years ago, and see how that sits, because that to me is a much better advert for a restorer. There's an MG Magnet in the next sale here that was done in 1996. Looks like it was done a week ago.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic.
And that's what you want.
Yeah. So whoever that restorer is or was, what a great job.
Go to them.
Yeah. Exactly so. So yeah, that's a very good point. But yeah, restoring a car for profit, very difficult.
Only on telly.
That leads on to the next question from Paul289. Is the rising cost of restoration being fueled by classic car price inflation or just by materials, wages and other costs?
All of the above, I'd say. All of the above.
Yeah. I mean, sort of prices of raw materials, steel and stuff like that have gone up massively. Prices of importing parts as well for overseas cars or for cars over here, and parts that are made overseas, gone through the roof.
Yeah, and obviously wages are having to go up as well for the same reason, but there is part of that question which I agree with, which obviously because classic cars are seen to be a good investment now, then obviously more people are putting better quality restorations. I think what is happening now, and I think this is a good thing, I mean, you and I will both remember back in the 80s when cars were relatively cheap, a lot of bodge restorations were done.
Yes.
A lot of firms were set up that made cars look very pretty superficially and weren't necessarily great restorations. Yeah. I think what there is a lot more of now, although there are still cowboys out there, there's a lot more high quality work done to a higher standard, which will last for a longer period of time. Yeah. And I would sort of say that's really where the market seems to be going, and it's all the better for it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's very important as well. We're at a point now, I think, where people would be, again, we've said it before, but would be well advised to buy a car that is already in good shape, that's already done, because you won't have to spend all of that extra money on it. So prices of restorations are going to go up as long as the rate of inflation goes up, and so. We're all stuck.
Yeah, and also what's interesting now, speaking to some... Do you want a glass of water, love? Do you want a glass of water?
Okay, I've just got this little tickle.
Are you all right? Would you like some water?
I'm okay. It's very nice of you to ask.
Okay.
I've got a bit
some
of
tea left.
Here. I've
okay.
got a bit of tea.
What's interesting,
Nice,
talking to you...
It's nice. It's a lovely lad. I don't care what all you lot think about him. I know what you think about him, because I thought that before. But he's actually a lovely fella.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah. But also talking to some restorers, what's interesting is they're saying because people now see classic cars as a fairly safe place to put your money, they go up and down, but generally they seem to be going in an upwardly motion.
Yes.
I think people are more inclined to spend money on perhaps more expensive restorations, because they know if you put 10 grand into a 20 grand car, it might be worth 25 grand. You're not going to lose all of the money. So I think people see it as a fairly safe home for their cash.
True enough. But I think with prices rocketing upwards now, I think there's going to be a point at which restorations do not match the cost of the cars. So there will be some sort of tempering effect there at the top.
Interesting times.
We have a question from Alex Dack1 live on Instagram. This is for you,
Oh, hey,
Paul.
Alex.
Would you sell the Notch that you've recently taken delivery of?
Thank you, but no. So I've just recently bought a very lovely 1967 notchback, Volkswagen notchback.
Yeah.
Air-cooled Volkswagen, so you won't like it.
What do you mean I won't like it? Are you saying I don't like Volkswagen?
You don't like air-cooled Volkswagens?
They're all right, but they're a bit...
You like buses with an engine in the back. This is a car with an engine in the back.
But I like buses with semi-automatic gearboxes and big Gardner engine in the back. Lots of other trinkets, sort of.
Well, this has one sun visor. This is a very economy spec. This is a 1600A notchback, 1967. So you get the lovely, cute early front, but you get the later running gear.
Yeah.
And it's the proper poverty spec. It has one sun visor, the most finally vinyl seats of all time, just pure poverty spec. But what a thing! Got it from a friend of mine who bought it from Norway. Yeah. Completely rust-free, all original paint, 1967. Brilliant. So it needs probably, I don't know, 800 quid's worth of tickling, and it will be lovely.
But what I've got to say is, though, with VWs, with air-cooled VWs, etc., you've got that magnificent scene. Yeah. It's brilliant. You basically buy one, you've bought yourself a social life.
You have.
A complete social life.
And do you know what I love about
that's great, though.
It is. And what I love about the Volkswagen scene, I think more than any other scene, is anything goes. If you're into straight resto, that's okay. If you're into light custom, that's okay. If you want to jack it up, that's okay. If you want to cut the body off, turn it into a beach buggy, everything's okay. I think it's the most accepting scene is the air-cooled Volkswagen scene. Whatever you want to do to it is pretty much okay. Yeah.
I'd agree. And if you want something to go to every single month, then get one of those cars
Yeah.
because I love the scene more than I love the cars.
And also, it's all kind of, it's around the whole kind of rave scene. And what's really cool now is what's really hilarious and makes me feel very old is there's a scene in Volkswagen now called Back to 89, because 89 was what we did with the big British Cal look. So when we did a certain customising look here in the UK, which was our take on what the Americans were doing, that's now so old, that's become a retro scene within itself.
So you are so old that you are now retro. Is that what you're saying?
I think if I wait long enough, I'll become fashionable.
I wouldn't hang on and wait for that one anyway. But
could be a while.
Yeah, so they can't hear that though,
No.
because I'm just speaking underneath.
It's like a snooker
Underneath
commentator.
okay,
He's just lining up for an easy black there.
Yeah, so you won't sell it. Everyone has a price. Come on, Paul. How much is it? What is it?
Never say never. But I want to sort it out first because it just needs a few bits. It's been in an old man's barn.
How much?
I don't know.
How
What's
much?
it worth? 20
How
grand?
much now?
20 grand. You can
20
have it.
grand. Okay,
Yeah.
there we go.
20 grand.
There's your answer.
20 grand in cash for an unpainted, unbody panelled, original everything notchback from 1967.
Yeah.
Find me another, as we say.
Well, if we could find another, we'd probably get it cheaper, wouldn't we?
Probably.
Yeah.
Next question from Robin on Twitter. When do you draw the line between restoration of a classic vehicle's paintwork, or when do you leave its patina alone?
Ooh,
Depends what you're into.
Yeah, it does. It does absolutely. Let's get off on one point that I think we can both agree on. If you own a car, it's your car, and you can do with it what you like. So
Amen.
Whatever you want to do with it, it's yours. You know, obviously, as long as you're not endangering somebody.
Yeah,
so,
we don't put a massive spike on the front because you might want to do that.
Yeah, or set light to it in a friend's garage.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing.
Or write offensive slogans on it.
Yeah.
None of those things,
Yeah,
even if you want to do them.
That's right. All of those are bad. But it's your car, so if you want to mod it or make it handle in a different way, a way that again within sort of safety parameters. But all of those kinds of things they're yours to do. So. What about, let's go for personal taste here. Do you like patination or do you like shiny paint?
I'm the weird person that likes both, and I think it completely depends on the car. So there's two great examples here that will go onto the website, have a look. There's a really lovely Common Gear, which has beautifully preserved patinated paint.
Yeah.
I think on that particular car, that's perfection. There's also a one family owner from new Volkswagen Beetle 1303 that's been repainted, which I guess at some point was patinated and is now red and shiny. Yes. And I think on that car, that works perfectly. So I think it really depends on the car and also the level and degree of patination. Some patination, particularly from dry state America, I just think looks gorgeous. I think
it does. It
looks even more gorgeous than perfect paint. Whereas, dare I say, British patination, where it's just sat out and gone really rusty.
That's a hole, and that's patination. That's a different sort of patination.
Yeah, that's MOT failing patination.
Yeah, you can't paint a hole.
No, and
you can cover a hole
sexy.
and paint it, but you can't paint a hole.
Like if he's got gaffer tape over it, that's not patination. That just needs fixing.
Yeah,
from my point of view.
That's right. Yeah. So, there are all these ways of looking at it. Yes, I believe you can spoil a car because a car's only original once, but if a car is ruined by just corrosion, then that's one thing. But if it's weather beaten, that's a great thing. That's wonderful.
I think so.
And that's the way that I love to see vehicles. Vehicles as used. Wearing a little bit of wearing their age with pride.
But also they tell a story, don't they? Patination and scars and chips, and they tell a story of what the car's done and where it's been. There's a lovely Daimler here that once belonged to Paul McCartney's music teacher's nan's dentist, I think.
Yeah.
It's a very, very high provenance with that car. And that car isn't perfect by any means, is it? A couple of bits on the interior needed. It's micro blistering, but it's very presentable.
Yeah.
It's definitely a 5-yarder, but it wouldn't win a concours event. But to me, that's the perfect condition. When a car is so nice and so perfect, and there are a few cars here of that level, you never drive them.
Yeah, exactly. So,
you never drive them.
Enjoy them.
Yeah.
So, quick update, Paul. Gentleman that was asking you about your notchback says he's going to come and have a look at it. So we'll sort the commission out later for that.
There we go.
How do you think classic cars will fare with the push for electric cars and emissions pay?
Okay.
I've got one here.
Go on then.
When the car was invented, we didn't stop riding horses, did we?
No, that's right. You can still get a horse, so you can still get a hated by a horse. You can still buy a bag of coal to put in your steam engine.
Yeah. So I think it will just become more of a hobby thing, which is no bad thing.
Yeah.
It represents billions of pounds for the economy. It represents a lot of jobs, a lot of tax income. I don't think the government's going to get rid of it. So all the people that say that will happen, I don't think that's going to happen in a hurry. And I think we will be pushed into a corner where I think we'll be quite happy as a little hobby thing. We'll get historic status for cars. You can drive them 2,000 or 3,000 miles a year, which for most classics is pretty much what they do anyway.
Yep.
Fuel will become expensive, but you won't use that much of it. You'll have your electric car for day to day.
That's true.
You'll have your hobby car for weekend.
Yep.
You drive it to a nice show. You'll enjoy the scene. They'll become more collectible, more covetable. I think the scene will exist in a slightly different space, but I think they'll always be there.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, people worry about, well, where will I be able to get fuel? Well, there are already companies such as I mentioned Fuzz Townshend's Classic
Oh,
Oils.
you should.
Yes,
yeah.
where actually we sell Gulf race fuels. We are the UK agent for Gulf
Nice plug.
race fuels,
Yeah.
and also you know, other specialist fuels as well. You know,
Is there a website for that?
machinery. Yeah, Classic Oils, classicoils.co.uk. Anyway, so you can, but yes, so there will be. There may be some other specialists, but I'd just go to that one.
Is that the best one you found in your experience?
It is the best one that I've found,
okay.
yeah. And all sorts of additives as well that you'll need to, you know, to sort of like help go. And of course, fuels without ethanol in as well. All those.
But it's interesting as well.
So they're all available out there.
Amazing, from all sorts of great places that Fuzz owns. But also, I think petrol will become, there's talk of synthetic fuel. Porsche have managed to do it. Porsche
Yes.
have created synthetic fuel. So even if we don't want to pull it out of oil wells in the ground anymore, there will be a way to make these old cars move.
Yes, that's
somehow.
Right. So we can, you know, they become even greener, basically.
Yeah.
If we're using synthetic fuels that have a very, very low carbon footprint, then we can use our cars with you know, clear conscience.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing.
These are great questions, aren't they? Have you noticed? These
Yeah.
are really good questions. Oh, look, Roger's bought us a water.
Oh, water.
Thank you.
You know, do you know what?
Thank you.
This guy, look, he's standing in
This is the
front of us,
gaffer.
in front of the camera. Yeah. Yeah. Is he the gaffer?
He's the gaffer.
I thought he was just the bloke who made the tea.
I know, he does make great tea.
He does, yeah.
Can I just say as well, TV superstar Fuzz Townsend, Disney employed, makes the tea for everyone. Everyone.
Doesn't everybody do that?
No,
everywhere?
I was impressed, I have to say.
Really?
Yeah. Hashtag stay humble.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't know that was an unusual thing.
No,
but,
it is,
you know,
mate. You know, I've worked with a lot of top celebrities.
Yeah.
Andrew Pritchard, and he doesn't make tea for everyone on the crew.
That leads me nicely on to the next one. We've had quite a few questions with a similar theme, so I'll ask you both. Are Tim and Drew the same in real life as they are on TV?
Well, okay. Let's get to the bottom of this. What do people mean? So, rather than getting on the defensive, I will say that Tim does manage to pull a lot of favours in his general life.
He's a very persuasive man.
Yeah, and that's what he's like. I wouldn't have the brass neck to do it myself. But, I mean, okay, so what about Drew?
Well, Drew is exactly as you see him on television, is exactly how he is in real life. He is that blunt. And things, I think with Drew's bluntness and directness, I think some people confuse that with rudeness.
Yeah.
And that's just, I think when you get to know him, he's a very straight speaker.
Yeah.
If he doesn't like something, he'll tell you. If he likes something, he'll tell you. And there's no grey area, basically.
Yeah.
He's a very binary man. And I think if you're not used to that, I love straight speakers because you always know where you are with them.
That's true. But what I will say, and this is something that I think has been a less attractive part of the world of classic cars and classic car television. Inevitably, it goes across all kinds of public exposure kind of thing, and that is people sort of getting online and you know, sort of picking on and commenting on, you know, and being generally horrible. I know Drew's had that, and Tim's had that as well. I know that Mike Brewer gets it on Wheeler Dealers. Whenever there's a partnership, there always appears to be one guy that gets all the love, one guy gets all the hate. Well, I'm pretty sure that both of us can sit here and say, stop the hating.
Yeah.
Absolutely stop the hating. Because it doesn't make us think, oh, great, you know, we're loved. It just makes us think, who's watching us? If you're putting things online that are sort of like anti our, you know, TV partners and all that kind of thing, putting them down.
We're not going to go, yeah, we agree.
No.
We're not. Because
No.
imagine if it was your mate and someone was having a go at your mate, you'd stick up for him.
Yeah.
And that's basically where we'll always come from.
Yeah, imagine if it was your kid. If it was your kid brother, if it was your kid's sister, your mum, your son, your daughter, your gran, or something like that. Everybody's getting onto them. Would you like that? No. Well, if that's you out there, stop it. And if you don't, if you agree that this thing should stop, get it out there and support us. And you know, if you see loads of hate speech on social platforms, just get people to put a lid on it and report it.
And also, here's a radical suggestion for anyone out there. So I watched a TV show the other day. I won't say what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it, so I turned it off and I watched something else. But what I didn't then do was find the person in the show, go online and abuse them. I just thought, you know what, I didn't enjoy that. I won't watch it again. So if that's how you feel about any of these shows, just watch something else.
Yeah, it's a TV show.
Yeah,
Come on. You know, get real. Go out. Go. In fact, you know, why don't you turn off your television set and go out and do something less boring instead?
Why don't you?
Oh,
that was the show, wasn't it?
Oh, I thought that was me thinking I'd come up with an original there.
Do you remember that? It's a TV show.
Of course I do.
Yeah. I'd also like to point out there's been some very positive comments about Tim and Drew as well.
Yeah, we love those guys.
2 separate shows. Revs Limiter has commented, how can we promote positive attitudes online? But I think you probably just
by blocking all the you know, positive attitudes online. You sort of just laud those positive attitudes.
I love that.
And if you see negative stuff online, just bury it.
But also, remember, in the television world, what they're trying to do, if there was two very agreeable people always having the same point of view and the same opinion on everything, although you think you'd like to watch that, it wouldn't actually be as entertaining as when there's a genuine difference of opinion or there's a little bit of headbutting in there. And I know in your show it's genuine, in our show it's genuine as well. And when we like something, we say it. If we don't like something, we say it. And that point of difference is where the entertainment lies. And unfortunately, you do have to have one stronger character, one more malleable character. That's just kind of how telly is. If you had two super strong ones, it wouldn't work. If you had two malleable ones, it wouldn't work.
That's right. You know, you don't want two people doing the same thing and agreeing all the way through, because it will be as dull as ditch water.
It would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Because I don't agree with him at all.
No, and I just want the number of his tailor.
Right, shall I move this on to the next question?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is from Alex Dack. He's live on Instagram with us at the moment. Paul or Fuzz, would you organise a local meet for people with classic cars?
Well, I think you're going to do one here, aren't you, Sam? I think there's talk of coming to Manor Park Classics, and because there's a massive car park here.
That's right. Yeah. So that would be great, and also quiet roads around about as well. I've known Manor Park Classics put on a good catering van as well.
They do. We've been testing out the menu over the last few months. You've tried the burger today.
I had the burger today. Yeah. I was only going to go for a quarter pounder. I got 2 burgers in there. My goodness me! I am full as an egg.
I had the Jackie potato. So there's going to be great food, nice people, and I guess if it's before a sale, you can come and. What I love about this place, it's dangerous because every time you come, there's something to buy.
Yeah. There are about 5 cars in here at the moment that I would genuinely like to see.
The Daimler?
The Daimler
The
is
Magnet?
one. Yeah, the Magnet.
The Armstrong Siddeley.
Yeah, the Armstrong Siddeley.
Yeah.
The little Morgan as well, the ex-Car SOS one. I think the Volvo, the 544.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
We should talk about, very quickly, so if you love watching Fuzzy's shows and you'd like to own something that he himself has touched by the hand of genius, one of your cars is in the next sale, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Quick plug for that, because that's a lovely car.
Yeah, lovely little Morgan, 1934 Morgan F4. So it's the family 4 version with the Ford engine. And we did it on Car SOS probably about 7 or 8 years ago. Beautiful little car. It's been owned by the same family for over 50 years, maybe even over 60 years now. Unfortunately, the owner is not so well, so he wants to see it go to a new owner and be loved. And so, yeah, it's a great little car, one that's got a very strong history, and
telly represented, so it'll be there for perpetuity, won't it, on the Disney Channel, and it'll be there forever. And what's nice, we were talking earlier, a quality restoration looks good years down the line. That still looks like it was done a few weeks ago. Still looks good, doesn't it?
And it's seen some use as well.
Yeah,
so
it
that,
really does stand up, that car.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, cool. Yeah, I think it's a great little car, and you know that everything's been done to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Will both or either of you be here for the next auction, the 12th of March?
I will be.
I will be as well.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm going to be. You never told me.
Well,
you never said that he would.
He never called. He never writes.
No.
What we might do as well. I'm just putting this out there. No one's agreed to this. I'm making it up. That we might do a live before the auction.
Yeah, we should do that, actually.
Yeah.
I think we should do that. I think we should have a
So
walk around.
press hearts and stuff if you want to see that.
Yeah, and I think we should do a bit of a walk around and preview everything that we've got here. You know, a very quick preview. Let's try and get every car in.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be also auctioning. There's a Mitsubishi Colt that I'm going to be auctioning in the sale. Don't tell anyone. I want to buy it.
Yeah.
So I will be really rubbish at auctioning it.
Yeah, that's good. What you're going to say? You're going to say like it's
no
got,
bits,
got
no
the wrong
bits,
engine,
yeah, wrong, terrible,
gearbox,
awful car. Nobody wants it.
Tires, knackered. It's been badly restored. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, awful thing.
But no,
I'll
actually,
look around the room.
I've had a look at that car. That car's lovely.
Shut up.
It's absolutely lovely. It's had loads and loads of money spent on it.
Car.
I can see it here. It looks beautiful. It's stunning.
Yeah. So you don't want that car. That car's terrible.
You're not going to be able to afford that.
No, I can't.
No.
Not on my wages. No. So that's coming in the next auction. I'm going to be auctioning a lot. I think you might have an auction of a lot. I think.
Really? I've done it a couple of times before. I go on stage in front of thousands of people. Nothing makes me sweat more than auctioning a car.
Well, it's actually somebody's. Well, also you're representing on behalf of the vendor, so there's quite a large responsibility there to do a good job. And also, obviously, you want to make sure that you're not missing any of the potential buyers.
But you know what the problem is?
Yeah.
It's a harder job than it looks, actually, auctioneering, because what you've got to remember is the last bid that was made. Yeah. So if you
Fuzz, it's on the screen.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, right, okay, I didn't realise that.
Yeah,
maybe I should
look. A little computer and it just tells you. And also, if you look behind, there's a massive screen, and it's on there too.
Wow, we're on.
Yeah,
we're on.
So that's actually, a great question here from Gray James.
You've got a face for radio, actually, haven't you? Just looking at that.
Oh, yeah.
He says he loves this. What are your 3 cars to invest in now to be future classics or rise in value in 5 or 6 years' time?
I see. This is the question that we addressed earlier. There is no such thing. Don't ever buy a car, ever, thinking you'll make money. If you buy a car that you love, that you've always wanted, that you can afford, and you make money, because don't forget you've got to service it, store it, maintain it, insure it, all that kind of stuff. That's all got to come out of the cost of it. If that's the bonus ball that you get from buying the car that you love, that was a good investment. If you don't, you'll have had the car that you wanted for however many years.
Yes and no. Yes and no.
Go on.
Okay, so 3 cars, Ford.
True.
Okay, so any fast Ford, I would say, if you want purely, because this is a question purely about investment, and it's not about loving the car. So if you want to invest in cars, I would go for the rarest fast Fords that you can go for. So
wise.
Yeah. So if you want to go for entry level fast Fords, go for things like Focus STs and stuff like that, because it might take a little while for that investment to come good, but in 10, 15, 20 years time, they will, I'm pretty sure that there'll be a safe bet for you to put your money into those, and you will get more back than you put in.
Yeah.
And of course, there are things like, if a car has provenance, if it's been certified as being the one that won the best rally in the world, whichever that was, kind of thing, then driven by driver X, again, you've got a cast iron investment. But I think Fords are the easy way to do it.
Yeah, you never go. Well, you say that. It's interesting because there's a Cortina on one of our other videos that we've done, a lovely little Mark III Coke bottle Cortina just out of shot here. And they don't make huge amounts of money. So the right Ford, so not all old Fords make huge amounts of money. Tend to be XRs and RSs. There's a huge tax for those.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. The ones that everybody wants and nobody could get. So if you wanted it when you were a child or a young person but couldn't afford it or were never going to get near one, those are generally the cars to go for.
Definitely. And there is pretty much, in motor trading, there is a 25-year rule in classic cars. So as Fuzz says, if it's a car that you wanted as a 15-year-old and you're now 40, look at what those desirable cars were in period. So if you look at, say, 205 GTI, fast forward 25 years later, that's when they started to peak. So look at the stuff now from about 20, 25 years ago. That's the stuff, or even better, look at the stuff that's 15 years old now.
Yes.
Because that's the stuff in 5 or 10 years that will be depreciated, and also they'll be quite cheap now. So if you want to make percentages, that's the way to do it.
Exactly, yeah.
But I cannot stress enough, don't buy a car to make the most amount of money, because you might not enjoy owning that car as much as one that will make less money, which is the one you really wanted. That's the one you buy.
That's true. Always, if you can, buy the car that you always really wanted. If you want to buy others as investments, make sure that you live on a plot of land that's big enough and has planning permission to build a nice big barn on it so that you can store your classics away in good, safe condition.
Good questions.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a few more to get through. I'll be as quick as I can.
Okay.
This is from @GT2Andy on Twitter. What boring engine work gets done on these restos? We see lots of cosmetic, but no comp tests, leak down, measuring gap rings, bearing shells, etc. How is the engine health guaranteed to equal the beautiful cosmetic?
Oh, okay, right. Well, I can say from our one.
Yeah.
If you have a look on Car SOS, Car SOS's Facebook page, you can see the workshop uncut stuff.
And they're good. They go into mega detail on those, don't they? Yeah.
So there's lots of stuff. Unfortunately, in car television, the thing that turns people off more than anything else is somebody going, oh, and then I'll get my feeler gauge out and I'll just check this one, 10,000ths, this one, 9,000ths of an inch, this one. So you're already turning off now.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
I was falling asleep.
Yeah.
And as Fuzz says, the problem is in television is what makes great entertainment and what makes for the general public. Because when they make a car show, generally speaking, obviously they want car people to watch it, so we try and make it credible and authentic. But we also want a general audience, what they call co-watching in television. So not just the car nerd of the family, but ideally their partner, maybe the kids. The more people you can get watching the show, the more popular it becomes. So the appeal is general. So with our show, we do an awful lot of work. So in the last series, there was an Esprit S1. We did a full engine rebuild on that, none of which was shown because we just did sort of artisan stuff. And the other thing in our show as well, so almost every car has some kind of engine work in. On probably 50% of the cars, we're doing full rebuilds right the way down to the block. But because We The Dealers, our sister show, does such a good job of the mechanical side of things, and the USP of that show is to show you how to do it.
I haven't heard of that one. Is it any good?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And because they're kind of more hands-on mechanical, mucky, oily bits, it was taken as a decision from Discovery that they would do more mechanical jobs, we would do more kind of artisanal jobs, so walnut dashboards, retrims, paintworks, kind of more visual stuff. So it all does get done, but unfortunately you just don't get to see it.
Yeah, well, on Car SOS, I would say probably a good 80% of the cars that we do have complete engine rebuilds, absolutely right down nut and bolt. But rarely do we show them. Often we'll show the problems that the engine's got, you know, so if we know that it's seized, we'll investigate and see why it's seized. But, you know, it's only rarely that I do an engine build on screen.
Because there is a place for that, and it's YouTube and things. YouTube is so good. And, you know, Ed China's got a channel out now, which is brilliant. If you want to go into that kind of real in-depth mechanical build.
Yeah, then that's where...
Almost like Haynes' manual in real life.
Yes.
That's what YouTube is brilliant for, isn't it? That's where all that great content is.
Absolutely. But it's on YouTube because it doesn't work on television, because it unfortunately makes people turn off and turn away.
Quick comment before the next question from Revs Limiter. He's put, the car I have is the car I love. It won't make me a profit, but the mental health lift I get makes it all worthwhile. Classic cars can be great for our mental health.
Yeah. Hello, Adrian. Yes, well, yeah, I think you know, sort of cars as boosters and spiriting to, you know, for mental health reasons are a great thing.
Yeah.
But also, do be aware that I do know a lot of people who get dragged down by their restorations as well. So owning a car can be a wonderful lift, but make sure that you're in at the right level for yourself. So, so if you've got a resto that's absolutely out of hand, it can really get on top of you, and that's when you need to share the problem.
Definitely, and that's when owners clubs can, I think, be very beneficial. I've got a mixed opinion on owners clubs. Some can be great for the scene, some can be a bit clicky and political, but the better owners clubs, exactly what Fuzz says, if you get to that point in your restoration where you've lost motivation, it's almost making you sad to try and fix it. That's when owners clubs can be brilliant. When, you know, people come around on a weekend, help you out, share knowledge, share parts. That, I think, is really, really good to do. So it's all about, again, going back to cars that make money versus cars that are easy to live with or cars you'll enjoy owning, because some of the cars that will make great amounts of money aren't necessarily easy cars to restore or easy cars to live with. Whereas, say, a car like an MGB, which is considered to be almost the ubiquitous classic because everyone has one, they're like belly buttons, but restoring a car like that is bliss, isn't it? Because you can have any part you want will arrive tomorrow morning. There's a million people can help you to fix it. There's every YouTube tutorial.
That's true, but don't underestimate the MGB, because they are, if you've got a rusty one, they can be tricky to.
A lot of crazy
fix.
panels.
Yeah, lots of difficult places to get into.
Weird construction.
Like so you know, there's nothing that's particularly easy in any car. I think it's all down to skills levels.
It's who you know, isn't it? It's who you know and what you know. And if you don't know what, make sure you know who.
That's right. But there's nothing that I love more than getting out of my old 1929 Austin 12.4, going to the shops and back. To me, that makes going to the shops and back absolute bliss. I like going to the shops anyway. I'm that kind of guy. I'll go to the supermarket and love it. But even better in a vintage car.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, we've still got 7 minutes left.
I've got one car question, one drums question, and an appeal.
Okay.
That's okay. So the last car question: what advice would you give to a young person soon to leave school who is interested in classic cars? All behind the scenes trades that you champion, which would you go down the apprentice route?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
And also, it's really important that we need to kind of nurture these youths. There's some wonderful people out there like Dominic Taylor-Lane, who does the Association of Heritage Engineers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's all about, because I go and visit, and I know you do too, all these wonderful old, generally boys in sheds doing these incredible things that they've been doing for 40, 50 years. And in a lot of cases, when they finish and when they retire, there isn't a succession. That shop shuts, and then because there isn't the next generation of skill that's going to learn from these amazing people.
Yeah.
So it's so important that we do encourage young people. And also, prove that it's cool. Unfortunately, in this kind of YouTuber, Instagram generation, going out, doing an apprenticeship, not earning much money for 2 years, getting dirty and smelly and learning a trade isn't considered to be as cool as it once was.
Can I stop you right there as well? Because you said 2 years. Now, a lot of people think that an apprenticeship is 2 years. Well, my apprenticeship was 4 years plus an extra year of college. But actually, what I've come to find, and maybe you've come to find, my apprenticeship started in 1980, and it's not over yet.
Absolutely.
It's still ongoing. So, you know, all I know now that I'm in my 50s is that I will never know everything. I'll never know enough. Yeah. Late 50s, all right, late 50s. I will never know enough. I will never know everything.
It's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you find this, because in our jobs, I think we're very similar. You more mechanical, me kind of more sort of in product knowledge. We are paid to know a little bit about a lot of cars.
Yes.
And when we go and visit Mark specialists, so we'll go and spend a day with a Jaguar specialist or a Ferrari specialist, and that person knows everything backwards about that one car.
And it's, but then you sort of like look at it, you go, well, you've got it easy.
Yeah.
I do. I actually look at that, I think, if only I had done that.
Just one car.
Yeah, just one car and be brilliant
But it's good, but don't you learn so much in those days? And as first as you never stop learning. Every day's a school day, particularly in the job, isn't it? And you sit with that person for the day, and you'll learn 25 things you never knew that morning by tea time.
True.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I will say, though, is that if you're a young person, you want to go into the restoration world, what area of restoration excites you the most?
Yeah.
Is it, so if you want to go into race prep and stuff like that, then you need to find a race prep specialist, or perhaps a car owner who's going to allow you to tag along with their team. Excuse me. And then you've got people who might be into things like panel beating and stuff like that, or you know, sort of more the smithing kind of thing, blacksmithing and panel beating, and how metal is formed and all that kind of thing, welding and all of those kinds of things. If that's your passion, get into that, and you know, you can specialise early on. I don't think there's anything wrong with becoming a great specialist. I mean, you know, the industry is crying out for great panel beaters and great electricians and all kinds of disciplines. Get into the bit of it that you like.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Or where your natural affinity is. So, I mean, I would say I'm a fairly average technician. So I do sort of everything to like a high hobby standard, basically. I am not professional level. And there's certain things I would really enjoy doing. So I love doing nuts and bolt stuff. I love doing basic bodywork. I am terrible at welding. I am really terrible at wiring. So you'll find if you are a young person, if you get your own project car, as you work through it, you'll find either things that you really enjoy, like Fuzz says, or things that you're naturally good at.
Yes.
And things that you're naturally terrible at. My advice is the things you're naturally terrible at or don't enjoy, don't go down that road.
Yeah, don't go down that road, unless, if you're terrible at them, but you want to know more, gradually get to a level where you do know more and take it on board more slowly, perhaps. But I think really following your passion is it. So if somebody says, "Oh, don't do that," if really in life, I think it's very important because life's pretty short.
It is, and
you should do whatever it is you see, you know, that really fills you with joy. It might not make you the most money, but if it brings you the most pleasure in life, that's brilliant.
I concur. Make your hobby your job. That's advice from that one, isn't it?
Yeah. Unless it's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
No.
Okay, we've got a question from Matthew Bate. He said it's the only opportunity he'll ever have to ask two drummers this. Is Turn It On by Genesis in 13/8?
Hold on.
It's 6 and 7, isn't it? I think it's a 6 and then 7, isn't it?
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 1, 2. Well, I suppose you could say, is it 13, 8?
But some of it's in 6. So that bit's 13, but then it goes into 6, doesn't it? So.
Yeah, but then...
So what we're talking about here, non-drummers, is so if you do 4/4, that's 4 beats to each bar. So blues.
I can show you. I can show you.
We're going to have to pay copyright on this now.
Pull up, P. That was a Genesis song.
So yeah, so 6/4 is like blues time basically, and then 7 is just like weird jazz stuff.
6/4. Or are you talking 6/8?
Oh, 6/8, yeah. So 6/4's weird, and 7. The only commercial song that was ever in 7 was 7 Days by Sting. If you want to check that one out.
Yeah, there's a great band from Birmingham called Hippo Hippo.
Yeah.
Who did a track called Frogspawn that was in. I think that was in 5/4. That was
pretty sure that's not a big hit. But Take 5 is the best known song in 5/4, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Dave Brubeck 5.
Do you want to know the only commercial hit in waltz time in 3/4?
Go on then.
Golden Brown by the Stranglers.
Sure, there must be more than that. Sure,
but in waltz time?
Yeah.
In 3/4?
1, 2, 3, 1. It does have a 1, 2, 3, 4 though, doesn't it?
It does, at the end of the phrase, doesn't it?
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. It's 4 at the end.
Yeah.
We can talk about this all day. Thanks for the 3 people that are still here.
Yeah, that's right.
Considerably more than 3. Thanks everyone for watching us. We Are Strong 2021 has asked, what advice would you give to women if wanting to buy a classic car?
Again, I would say for women wanting to buy a classic car, buy the best car that you can afford, because that's the thing. If you're into a certain car, then sort of look for the best one that you can. If you need assistance in finding that car, again, we've mentioned before a little earlier on, some of the classic car clubs can be useful. Again, choose a classic car club that welcomes you in and is great for the scene that you want to be part of.
That's great advice. Also, come here, come see Sam, who's doing all these questions.
Yeah,
she is a woman, and she's running the show. So there you go. Just come here where ladies are running the show, and they'll put you in the right classic car. That would be my advice.
Yeah, and you've got time to relax, look around the cars, and choose one that suits you. And you might surprise yourself. You might come in looking for one thing, and go out wanting another.
Yeah, that is all classic car auctions, though. Do you find that? I come with a shopping list in my head. This one, this one, and this one. You get there like, woo.
Yeah, well, for me, it's just like sort of mashed potato. You can't get it all back in the same skin. So I come in wanting one thing and go out wanting 5. So that's a case now. But yeah, sort of come to a place. Buying a car at auction is not a scary thing. You get more time.
Well, let's caveat that if you go to the right auction.
Yeah, if you go to the right auction, yeah. So you get here at Manor Park Classics, you get plenty of time. You can take a look around. You can spend all day with the car if you need to. You can get it up on the ramp.
We need to point out, it's the only auction house that I know of, I think in the UK, where there's a ramp in the sale room that you can come prior to sale. I hasten, not during the sale, that would be quite disruptive.
Yeah.
But prior to sale, get your preferred lot with your mate, the man from the club, Uncle Larry, whoever it is, whoever knows about these things, and they can poke and prod and have a proper look. Or if you want them to, if you can't make it, they'll stick it up in the air. They'll do a walk around on the phone. They'll take pictures. All on show. Yeah,
and you can get a third party inspector to come and have a look at it if you want to. It's all doable, and then you only need to go to the price that you want to go to.
Wise words.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. We've had the same question from quite a few people. Latest one from Rick's Automobilia. Which car would you guys buy now and store for future investment, specifically the car?
Okay, well, are we talking about the cars that are actually here now?
Some people are asking that, some people are asking in general.
Okay, well, if it were a car from here in this or the other room, which one would you go for, Paul?
You know, I'd buy
as an investment.
I don't know. Well, I hate buying cars for investments. I'd like to buy cars. I would never buy a car for investment, so I'm going to buy that rather beautiful 993 over there because it's a bit leggy. 993s are the last of the air-cooled classic.
Yeah.
So I think that the end of an era, and generally in classic cars, if you buy the first of anything or the last of anything, they're the ones that tend to make good money. It's also a particularly nice colour, and I've never had one. So that would be mine, that lovely 993 over there.
Well, do you know, I'm not a Porsche man, but I was going to, because they are Beetles, aren't they?
Yeah, that's why I love them. Yeah.
But So I'm glad you've admitted that, because they do. If you get underneath them, you can see the Beetle, can't you?
But also, if you drive like an early 80s 911, they even drive like a Beetle, like a very nice 1303.
Yeah, exactly. So what I would go for, you've gone for the Porsche now. So I'd go for the car that's sitting next to it. That little Alfa Romeo, what's it, GT 1600 Junior?
Yeah, but what a beautiful colour.
Yeah, it is. That sort of almost lilac-y blue.
Yeah. So you think you'd want that car in red until you see that colour, then you actually realise that's the colour you want.
That is great. So I'd probably go for that, and I don't think that would lose you any money at all, and would bring you great, immense pleasure.
So there you go. Get on the side, get registered, get bidding, and you too could make thousands of pounds.
Yeah, manorparkclassics.com.
Yeah, Vesuvio Grey Metallic, which looks like purple, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Well, it is purple.
It's great. Vesuvio Grey Metallic, I think you'll find.
Okay, one last question to squeeze in really quickly. Can you ask the lads how many Peugeots have they owned? Thanks, that's Ring Weekend.
Oh, right. Well, I've owned an Peugeot, which is like an undesirable Peugeot, which was a 405 estate petrol, 1600, bog standard, and it was like a car dementor. So I used to set out in the morning, happy. And I used to get to my destination quite often at Practical Classics, 160 miles later, miserable, because it just was like it was a non-car. If it had been the diesel, I could have at least enjoyed
the frugality,
and all that kind of stuff. That would have been great. So I've owned that, and Peugeot 205 registration F339 LAR. It was just a bog standard one. And I sold that to my fellow member of Bentley Rhythm Ace, Michael Stokes, who then thought it was so boring that he wallpapered the interior. Was it wood chip? No, it was sort of like all floral and everything like that. It was very nice.
Could catch on.
Nice. Yeah,
so I haven't had many Peugeots actually, but I do love them. I have to say, I really like Peugeots. But I do have at the moment a very, very lovely 505 Familiar, which is the 7-seater one, which is imported from Portugal, and therefore is very rust-free and in exceptionally nice condition, which I absolutely nicked from Brightwell's auction actually.
Yeah. Oh, I've also owned two Peugeot 206s, one with a sort of like shaky back end. I had to go to a scrapyard and get another rear axle for it. But one of them was a diesel, and one of them was a petrol. And I was forever filling up the diesel with petrol because I thought I was in the other one. And but what I will tell you, it would get the nearly 10 miles back from the petrol station before it started playing up. And then I just used to have to drain all the petrol out of it and use the petrol in the lawnmower at home, and then go out in the other one.
I'm amazed a mechanical engineer that does that.
Oh man, I did it so many times that it's embarrassing.
So I think, is that the end of the questions?
We have 2 more minutes. One last question. What date's the auction?
It is.
March the 12th.
March the 12th, that's right.
March the 12th.
Saturday, March the 12th.
So we will be
here. That's the important thing, yeah. It's a Saturday, so you can get here. Saturday, March the 12th. Unless you've got a Saturday job, then you can't get here. But you can send somebody else. So Saturday, March the 12th.
And we're going to be walking around chatting, going to talk you through the lots. We'll do another live. I'm going to auction one of the lots, as we've said. I think you should auction one.
I might do. I've done that before, but I'm sweating on the top line there. But I didn't know about the on-screen thing.
Yeah, well, I'll show you where the prices are and make it much more relaxing. Okay. I could whisper them at you.
I don't want you whispering in my ear.
Does it put you off?
It does, yeah. Every time that you do that, it puts me off. He does it an awful lot.
He loves it.
He does it a lot.
Don't mind. We have an appeal.
On appeal, I'm going to read this, guys, because I can't. So what we're trying to do, so there's a car that one of our lovely viewers and listeners is trying to find. So it's a 1986 Fiesta XR2 Mark II. The registration number is Charlie 323 Oscar Kilo Foxtrot.
So OKF, that is a Liverpool or Merseyside, a registration number, I think you will find.
Good nerdiness, mate.
That's
in the very rare colour of Paris.
Here we go, hold on. Supplied new to Stormont.
Oh, you read that first.
I did. Look, I know that KF. There's lots of KFs and KVs.
I just read a line ahead that says, "Oh yeah, that was supplied in Liverpool." That's how you impress people at parties. I know your trick. So it's Paris Blue. I'll just read the reg number again. It's C Charlie 323 OKF, which Fuzz says is from Liverpool that he read. off the thing.
Oh, get out
in
of
Paris Blue. So if you know where that car is, we've got someone who's desperately trying to find it. The Divalet says it's not been scrapped and it is with an owner that's been off the road since '94. So I'm guessing it's stuck in someone's barn or stuck in someone's garage. Someone would love to be reunited with that car. So if you know anybody that might know where that car is, I will put a little tweet out later. Please do get in touch with Manor Park Classics and we'll try and put those people back together like cars reunited.
It is, yeah. That's a lovely story. It would be great if they get back together. And I hope that C323 OKF has been treated beautifully.
Can I just say this? Someone's put a filming idea on the bottom. And let's get some gossip off Fuzz now. It says filming ideas. A get together with Ed China and Fuzz and Paul to do a series of Top Gear parodies. I saw a little still from your show, from your new series, from your production company, that had Mr. China in it. Can you divulge what that's all about, or is that top secret?
No comment. You just better watch the new series of Car SOS, starting on the 10th of March, 2022 on the National Geographic channel.
Or Disney Plus, actually. That's what I watch it on.
Yeah.
And then you can have all Star Wars and all the Herbie videos as well.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm a Disney character too.
Well, thank you for watching, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into our live.
Yep.
Please do leave comments if you enjoyed it. Please follow all Manor Park social medias.
Yeah, manorparkclassics.com. Go there, go to the site. You can see loads and loads of stuff, car reviews, you know, sort of in-car driving stuff with him and with me, doing loads of stuff. Just really enjoying the cars that are here. And remember, it's an ever-changing scene.
It is. And come along and enjoy it on March the 12th. And if you can't be here in person, register and bid. And if you want us to have a little walk around on the day and do some live videos of things you might want to buy because you can't be here, we'll do that too.
Yep, we promise.
Thanks.